In this video, we're talking about what can happen if you get sued by a debt collector and don't respond to the lawsuit. Hey there, my name's May. I work for the nonprofit Upsolve. We help people tackle their debt and take control of their financial future. There's a lot of misleading information on the internet about debt lawsuits. Some people will wrongly tell you that you don't have to do anything if you get sued, or that debt collectors aren't actually allowed to sue you. Here's the truth. If you get served with a summons and complaint for a debt lawsuit, you need to take action and respond quickly. Why? Well, if you don't file the response by the deadline, you're most likely to lose the case. Of course, it takes some time, effort, and energy to figure out how to respond to a lawsuit, especially if you're here to learn how to do it without a lawyer. Most of us don't do this very many times in our lives, nor do we have much interaction with the court system. It can be frustrating to try to figure out this process on your own, which is why we've made this comprehensive video series to help you out. Because here's the thing, if you don't respond to the debt lawsuit, it's not just going to go away, neither the debt nor the lawsuit. In fact, it often makes things worse. If the debt collector wins, they're going to get easier access to your money. And it might actually mean that you end up paying more in the long run as court fees, interest, and other costs get added to your total debt tally. All right, let's break down how this works. If you don't respond to the lawsuit, the judge is going to assume that you don't want to defend yourself against the debt collector's claims. But the judge still needs to rule on the case. And since they haven't heard from you, in most cases, they're going to issue what's called a default judgment. This is a court order that says the debt collector won because you didn't defend yourself. Here's a metaphor to help you understand. This is really similar to not showing up to a basketball game. If there's two teams that are supposed to be playing and one simply doesn't show up, the other gets the win by default. You've forfeited your chance to even show what your skills are or go for the win. Okay, back to the default judgment. Once the debt collector has that court order in hand, they're going to be able to do some things now that they weren't able to do previously. For example, they could put a lien on any property that you own, which is going to prevent you from selling or refinancing that property until you've paid back the debt collector. Or they might decide to freeze your bank account and seize your funds through what's called a bank levy. And that brings us to the most common tool that most debt collectors are going to try to use to get at your money, and that is wage garnishment. When a debt collector garnishes your wages, they get to take out a portion of your money before you get paid. And this usually continues paycheck after paycheck until the full debt is paid off. And as you can imagine, that can cause some serious hardship if you're already struggling to make ends meet. Slight silver lining to this, there are limits to how much of your wages can be garnished, which you can learn more about from the link in the description below. Okay, that's pretty stressful, but there's some good news. You may be able to avoid all of this just by responding to the debt lawsuit, aka filling out some paperwork. Here's what you need to know about debt collectors. They're really choosing the path of least resistance. To you, it probably feels like a very big deal to get sued. It would to me, or probably any normal person. But to them, it's just a business strategy. And as part of that strategy, they're looking for an easy win. And in the majority of the cases, the people who get sued just give it to them. And that's just because it's hard to know how to respond. That's why we've made this video series, to help you take control and not find yourself in that situation. All right, so debt collectors are looking for the path of least resistance. If you file your answer form with the court, you've already put an obstacle in their pathway, which is great. They're not going to get the easy win they want, and you're going to get some power back. If they know that they're going to have to actually fight you on the lawsuit in court, they might drop the case altogether or reach out to you with a debt settlement offer. With debt settlement, you get to pay less than the total amount you owe and close the account for good. There's more info on that at the link in the description. Okay, so let's imagine that the worst case scenario happens and you file the response to the lawsuit and they move forward with it anyway. Now, you still get to show up to court and tell your side of the story. And really importantly, you get to tell the judge anything that the debt collector might have left out of their complaint. This is important because sometimes they get details wrong, including who actually owns the debt or how much you owe. So if you don't really own the debt or the debt amount is wrong, it's important to show up and let the judge know that. All right, so that's what happens if you don't respond to a debt lawsuit. But the good news is you can respond, even if it's on your own without hiring legal help. It's entirely possible. If you want to learn more about this process, including how to read and fill out court papers, check out the other videos in this series, which are also linked in the description below. You can also visit our website, which is upsolve.org, where we have tons of information to help you on your journey to becoming debt-free.